The fluorescent lights of Save More supermarket buzzed overhead like angry hornets as Maya Rodriguez stood frozen at register 7. Her hands trembled as she stared at the digital display glowing an accusatory red, $87.43. She had counted 3 times. 3 times before leaving her cramped studio apartment. The crumpled bills in her wallet added up to exactly $72.16. Not enough. Not nearly enough. Ma'am? The cashier, a teenager with bored eyes and purple-streaked hair, tapped her neon-pink nails against the counter. That'll be $87.43. Maya's 5-year-old daughter, Lily, tugged at her worn denim jacket. The little girl's honey-brown eyes sparkled with innocent excitement as she clutched a small carton of strawberry milk, her favorite treat, the one thing Maya had promised her after another week of mac and cheese dinners. "Mommy, can we get ice cream too?" Lily's voice was pure sunshine, completely unaware of the storm brewing in her mother's chest. Maya's throat tightened. She glanced down at the conveyor belt, a gallon of regular milk, a loaf of whole wheat bread, peanut butter, generic cereal, some bananas going brown that were on sale, a pack of chicken thighs, rice, and that single carton of strawberry milk that cost $4.29. Behind her, the line was growing. She could feel the impatience radiating from the other customers like heat from asphalt in July. A woman in yoga pants sighed loudly. A businessman in a tailored suit checked his watch with exaggerated frustration. "I'm so sorry," Maya whispered, her voice cracking. Her cheeks burned with shame. I need to put something back." The cashier rolled her eyes, reaching for the void button. Maya's hand hovered over the items. The bread? No, Lily needed sandwiches for school. The chicken? That was supposed to last them 3 dinners. The cereal? Lily's breakfast for the week. Her fingers closed around the small carton of strawberry milk. "Lily, baby," Maya crouched down, fighting back tears that threatened to spill. "Mommy made a mistake. We can't get the special milk today. But we have regular milk at home, okay?" Lily's face fell. Her bottom lip quivered, and for a moment, Maya thought she might cry. But then her daughter did something that absolutely shattered her heart. She smiled. "It's okay, Mommy. Regular milk is good too. You work really hard." Lily wrapped her small arms around Maya's neck. That's when Maya started crying. Right there in the middle of Save More supermarket, under those harsh fluorescent lights, in front of a line of strangers who just wanted to get home. "Jesus Christ, lady," the businessman muttered. "Some of us have places to be." Maya quickly wiped her eyes with the back of her hand, mortified. She handed the strawberry milk back to the cashier, who snatched it without a word and voided it from the system. $72.16, the teenager announced flatly. As Maya fumbled with her wallet, extracting every last crumpled bill and counting out 16 pennies from the bottom of her purse, she didn't notice the man in line 3 registers over. But he noticed her. Marcus Wellington 3 wasn't supposed to be at Save More supermarket. Men with a net worth of $2.3 billion didn't typically shop at discount grocery stores in modest neighborhoods. They had personal assistants, private chefs, and premium delivery services. But Marcus had made it a habit, one his late mother had instilled in him before she passed, to occasionally step out of his bubble. "Don't forget where you came from, Marcus," she used to say. "Don't forget what struggle looks like." His mother had raised him alone after his father walked out. She'd worked 3 jobs, clipped coupons, and yes, returned items at the grocery store checkout when the math didn't add up. He remembered being 7 years old, standing beside her at a register just like this one, watching her put back a birthday cake she'd picked out for him. He'd built his fortune in tech, starting with a simple app that connected low-income families with local resources. From there, his company, Wellington Innovations, had exploded. But he never forgot those days of counting pennies. Today, he was here because his executive assistant, Patricia, had mentioned this particular Savemore was struggling and might have to close, putting 50 local employees out of work. Marcus wanted to see the store for himself, understand the community it served. He was standing in the express lane with a single item, a bottle of water he didn't even want, when he heard it. "I'm so sorry. I need to put something back." Marcus turned his head slightly and saw her. A young woman, late 20s maybe, with dark hair pulled back in a messy ponytail. She wore a jacket that had seen better days and jeans with a small tear at the knee. But it was her face that stopped him, the raw desperation, the humiliation, the bone-deep exhaustion. And the little girl beside her, with curly brown hair and a smile that could light up the world. He watched as the mother picked up a small carton of strawberry milk, watched as she crouched down to explain to her daughter, watched as the little girl hugged her mom instead of throwing a tantrum. Then he saw the tears. And something in Marcus's chest cracked wide open. The businessman behind the woman, some pompous jerk in an expensive suit, made a rude comment. Marcus's jaw tightened. He recognized that type. Hell, he worked with men like that every day. Men who'd never struggled for anything, who'd never had to choose between milk and dignity. Marcus made a decision. He abandoned his place in line and walked directly to the store manager's station at the front of the store. The manager, a balding man in his 50s named Robert Chen according to his name tag, looked up from his clipboard. "Can I help you, sir?" "Yes," Marcus said quietly. "I need you to do something for me, and I need you to do it discreetly." Maya had just finished loading her meager groceries into the single reusable bag she'd brought from home when she felt a tap on her shoulder. She turned to find the store manager standing there with an uncertain smile. "Ma'am, I'm Robert Chen, the store manager. Could I speak with you for just a moment?" Maya's heart sank. God, what now? Had she miscounted? Was the register short? She couldn't handle any more humiliation today. Yes. Her voice came out as barely a whisper. "There's been a situation with your purchase," Robert said, and Maya felt the world tilt. "Could you come with me to customer service?" "Mommy?" Lily's voice was worried now. "It's okay, baby. Just wait here for 1 second." Maya followed Robert to the customer service desk, her mind racing through worst-case scenarios. Behind the counter, a young man with a kind face smiled at her. "Ms. Rodriguez," Robert began, and Maya wondered how he knew her name before remembering she'd used her store discount card. "A gentleman in the store today wanted to do something for you." "What?" Maya blinked, confused. Robert cleared his throat, clearly uncomfortable but also somewhat pleased. "He's paid for your groceries. All of them. And he's asked us to give you this." He slid an envelope across the counter. Maya stared at it like it might bite her. "I don't understand." "Who?" "He wishes to remain anonymous," Robert said gently. "But he also wanted to make sure you got this." With shaking hands, Maya opened the envelope. Inside was a Savemore gift card and a handwritten note on expensive stationery. "You're doing an amazing job. Your daughter is lucky to have you. Please accept this small help, not as charity, but as one parent's recognition of another's sacrifice. Buy the strawberry milk. Buy the ice cream. You both deserve it. A friend." Maya's vision blurred with tears again, but these were different. She turned over the gift card and gasped. The balance printed on the back read, $5,000. This can't be real," she whispered. "This is some kind of mistake." "It's real, ma'am," the customer service clerk confirmed, scanning the card. $5,000. Good at any Savemore location. Maya's knees buckled. Robert quickly grabbed her elbow, steadying her. "Who was he?" she asked desperately, looking around the store. "I need to thank him. He's already gone, ma'am," Robert said softly. He made me promise not to reveal his identity. He just wanted to help. Maya stood in the supermarket parking lot, still in shock, clutching the gift card like a lifeline. Lily skipped beside her, blissfully eating a chocolate chip cookie the customer service clerk had given her. $5,000. Maya did the math in her head. That was almost 4 months of groceries. 4 months of not having to choose between food and electricity. 4 months of not having to water down the milk or feed Lily pasta for the 5th night in a row. She thought about the past year. After Lily's father had left, just disappeared one day, leaving nothing but a note and unpaid bills, Maya had been drowning. Her job as a medical billing clerk at a small clinic paid barely above minimum wage. Daycare costs were astronomical. Rent ate up most of her paycheck. She'd been so close to having to move back in with her mother in Arizona, which meant pulling Lily out of the school she loved, leaving behind the few friends Maya had managed to make. This gift card, it was more than money. It was breathing room. It was hope. "Mommy, why are you crying?" Lily asked, concerned. Maya laughed through her tears and scooped her daughter up, spinning her around. "Because sometimes, baby girl, miracles happen. Sometimes people are good." "Was it an angel?" Lily asked seriously. "Maybe," Maya whispered. "Maybe it was." What Maya didn't know was that Marcus Wellington hadn't actually left. He was sitting in his black Tesla in the far corner of the parking lot, watching through tinted windows as the young mother hugged her daughter. His phone buzzed. Patricia, his assistant. "Marcus, the board meeting started 10 minutes ago. Where are you?" "Something came up," Marcus said, his eyes still on Maya and Lily. "You're the CEO. You can't just." "Patricia, what's the total revenue for Wellington Innovations last quarter?" A pause. $640 million. "And what's my personal net worth?" "Marcus, what does this have to humor me?" Another pause. $2.3 billion, approximately. "And how much did I just spend helping a struggling mother feed her child?" Silence on the other end of the line. $5,000, Marcus continued. "That's 0.000217% of my wealth. Patricia, do you know what that would be equivalent to for someone making $50,000 a year?" "I know. About $11. I just tipped a struggling mother $11 in relative terms, and she looked at me like I'd given her the moon. Tell the board I'll be there in 20 minutes. And Patricia?" Marcus didn't forget about Maya Rodriguez. In fact, he couldn't stop thinking about her. He'd built his career on identifying problems and creating solutions. As he sat through his board meeting that afternoon, only half listening to quarterly projections and market analyses, his mind kept drifting back to that moment at the supermarket. How many Mayas were out there? How many single parents working their asses off, doing everything right, and still falling short? How many kids going without because the system was rigged against people starting from behind? After the meeting, Marcus called in his research team. "I want data," he told them. "Everything you can find about single-parent households in this city. Income levels, childcare costs, food insecurity rates, everything. I want to know the scope of the problem." His COO, Jennifer Walsh, raised an eyebrow. "Marcus, this sounds like a social project." "We're a tech company." "We're a company that solves problems," Marcus corrected. "And this is a problem. Get me the data." 3 days later, the report landed on his desk. The numbers were staggering. 37% of single-parent households in the city lived below the poverty line. Average childcare costs exceeded average rent in most neighborhoods. 1 in 4 children experienced food insecurity. Single mothers, in particular, earned on average 63 cents for every dollar earned by married fathers. Marcus read through the report twice, his jaw tightening with each statistic. This wasn't just about one woman at a grocery store. This was systemic. This was an epidemic of invisible suffering happening every single day in every neighborhood. He thought about his own mother again. She died 5 years ago, right before his company went public. She never got to see him succeed, never got to enjoy the comfort his wealth could have provided her. But she'd always told him, "Marcus, when you make it, and you will make it, don't forget the people still climbing." He hadn't forgotten. But maybe he hadn't been doing enough. Marcus called an emergency executive meeting. His leadership team filed into the conference room looking confused. "I'm launching a new initiative," Marcus announced without preamble. "The Wellington Family Foundation. We're starting with a pilot program here in the city." He pulled up the presentation he'd been working on all night. "We're going to identify and support 1,000 single-parent families. Direct financial assistance, childcare subsidies, job training programs, college savings accounts for their kids. Everything they need to not just survive, but actually get ahead." His CFO, Richard Browning, cleared his throat. "Marcus, that's very noble. But the cost?" "I don't care about the cost," Marcus interrupted. "I want to know the impact. I want to know what happens when we actually give people a real chance. Consider it an investment in human capital." Jennifer leaned forward. "You're serious about this?" "Dead serious. And I want to start by finding the woman from the supermarket. Maya Rodriguez. I want her to be the first recipient, and I want to document her journey. If we can show what's possible when we actually support struggling parents, maybe we can change some minds." "Yes? I want you to compile a list of every employee at SaveMore who's below the poverty line. Every single one. I have an idea." Maya was making spaghetti when her phone rang 2 weeks later. Unknown number. She almost didn't answer, probably another debt collector or spam call. "Hello? Is this Maya Rodriguez?" A woman's voice, professional but warm. "Yes, who's calling?" "My name is Patricia Chen. I'm the executive assistant to Marcus Wellington, CEO of Wellington Innovations. Do you have a few minutes to talk?" Maya froze, her wooden spoon dripping sauce onto the kitchen floor. Marcus Wellington. She knew that name. Everyone knew that name. He was one of the richest men in the country. Why would Marcus Wellington want to talk to me? "Ms. Rodriguez, were you at SaveMore Supermarket on the afternoon of October 23rd? Maya's breath caught. That was him? The person who bought my groceries?" "I can neither confirm nor deny that," Patricia said, but her tone suggested Maya had guessed correctly. "However, Mr. Wellington would like to meet with you. He has a proposition that might interest you." "A proposition?" Maya's voice was suspicious. She'd heard stories about wealthy men and propositions. Patricia seemed to sense her hesitation. "Nothing inappropriate, I assure you. Mr. Wellington is launching a charitable initiative, and he'd like to discuss the possibility of your family being participants. But he'd like to explain in person. Would you be available to meet tomorrow afternoon? We can arrange childcare for your daughter if needed." Maya's mind raced. This felt surreal. Impossible. Like something from a movie, not real life. "Ms. Rodriguez?" Yes. Yes, I can meet tomorrow." "Excellent. I'll send a car for you at 2 p.m. Is that acceptable?" A car. Marcus Wellington was sending a car for her. That's fine. Thank you." After she hung up, Maya stood in her tiny kitchen, staring at her phone. Lily was in the living room, watching cartoons and coloring in a book Maya had bought with the gift card, the magical gift card that had changed everything. She'd been using the money carefully, strategically. Buying actual vegetables, real meat, treats for Lily. She'd even been able to buy herself a pair of work shoes that didn't have holes in the soles. And now the mysterious benefactor wanted to meet her. Maya didn't sleep that night. She kept imagining scenarios, most of them terrifying. What if this was some kind of trick? What if he wanted something from her? What if? But then she remembered the note. "You're doing an amazing job. Your daughter is lucky to have you." Those words had meant everything to her. More than the money, even. Because Maya spent every day feeling like she was failing, like she wasn't enough, like she was letting Lily down. To have someone see her struggle and tell her she was doing a good job, that had been worth more than $5,000. So she would meet Marcus Wellington. And she would hear what he had to say. The car that arrived at 2 p.m. was nothing like Maya expected. She'd imagined a limousine, something ostentatious and intimidating. Instead, it was a simple black sedan driven by a kind older woman named Rose who chatted about her grandchildren during the drive. They pulled up to Wellington Tower, a gleaming structure of glass and steel in the heart of downtown. Maya had passed this building 100 times on the bus but never imagined she'd go inside. Patricia met her in the lobby, an elegant woman in her 50s with a warm smile. "Maya, thank you so much for coming. Mr. Wellington is looking forward to meeting you." The elevator ride to the 40th floor felt like ascending to another world. When the doors opened, Maya stepped into an office suite that probably cost more than her entire apartment building. "He's just finishing a call," Patricia said, leading Maya to a comfortable waiting area. "Can I get you anything? Coffee, tea, water?" "Water would be great," Maya managed, her mouth dry as dust. A few minutes later, a door opened, and a man stepped out. Maya had seen pictures of Marcus Wellington in magazines and online, usually in formal settings, wearing expensive suits, looking intimidating and distant. The man in front of her was different. He wore dark jeans, a simple gray sweater, and sneakers. His dark hair was slightly messy, like he'd been running his hands through it. When he smiled at her, it reached his eyes. "Maya," he said, extending his hand. "I'm Marcus. Thank you for coming." His handshake was firm but not aggressive. Normal. Like a regular person. "Mr. Wellington, Marcus, please. Mr. Wellington makes me feel like my dad, and trust me, that's not a compliment." He gestured toward his office. "Shall we?" His office was huge but surprisingly personal. Yes, there were the expected floor-to-ceiling windows with views of the city, but there were also photos everywhere. A woman Maya assumed was his late mother, pictures of Marcus with kids from what looked like charity events, even a few childish drawings framed on one wall. "Those are from the Wellington Youth Center," Marcus explained, noticing her gaze. "Kids we've helped over the years. I keep them to remember why I do this." Maya sat in a chair across from his desk, her hands clasped tightly in her lap. "I don't understand why I'm here." Marcus leaned back, studying her with an intensity that should have been uncomfortable but somehow wasn't. "Do you know why I was at Savemore that day?" Maya shook her head. "I make it a habit to regularly visit places outside my usual bubble. My mother raised me to never forget where I came from. She was a single parent, like you. Worked multiple jobs, struggled to put food on the table. I remember her returning things at checkout because she didn't have enough money. I remember being embarrassed as a kid, not understanding what she was sacrificing." Maya felt tears prick at her eyes. "I'm sorry. That must have been hard." "It was harder on her than me," Marcus said quietly. "She died 5 years ago. Never got to see my success. But before she passed, she made me promise something. She said, 'Marcus, when you have more than enough, remember the people who don't have quite enough. Help them. Not in a way that makes them feel small, but in a way that makes them feel seen.'" He paused, his expression intense. "When I saw you at that supermarket, putting back your daughter's milk, I saw my mother. I saw every parent who's doing everything right and still falling short because the system is broken. And I realized I'd been thinking too small." Marcus pulled out a folder and slid it across the desk. I'm launching something called the Wellington Family Initiative. We're going to support 1,000 single-parent families in this city. Financial assistance, childcare subsidies, job training, career advancement support, educational trusts for the kids, everything needed to break the cycle. Maya opened the folder with trembling hands. Inside were documents outlining a program that seemed too good to be true. I want you to be the first family in the program, Marcus said. Not just as a recipient, but as a consultant. I need someone who actually understands what struggling parents need, not what wealthy donors think they need. I need your perspective, your honesty, your lived experience to make this work. Maya looked up at him, tears streaming down her face. Why me? Because in that supermarket, even when you were breaking down, you showed your daughter love. You showed her dignity. You taught her that people matter more than things. That's the kind of parent who deserves every resource we can provide. I don't know what to say. Marcus smiled gently. Say you'll let us help. Say you'll help us help others. Say you'll give your daughter the life you both deserve. Maya couldn't speak. She just nodded, tears flowing freely now. There's one more thing, Marcus said, pulling out another envelope. I need to offer you a job. $45,000 a year to start, full benefits, flexible hours that work around Lily's school schedule. You'd be the family liaison coordinator for the Wellington Foundation. Your job would be to help us connect with families, understand their needs, and make sure we're actually making a difference. That's more than I make now. It's what the position pays, Marcus said firmly. This isn't charity, Maya. This is recognizing your value. You're smart, resourceful, and you understand the community we're trying to serve. That's worth something. Maya stared at the job offer, her mind reeling. This morning she'd been worrying about how to afford Lily's field trip fee. Now she was being offered a salary that would actually let them live, not just survive. Why are you really doing this? She whispered. Nobody does this. Nobody helps like this. Marcus was quiet for a moment. Then he said, My mother used to tell me a story. She said when she was at her lowest point, about to be evicted, no food in the house, completely out of options, a stranger paid her rent for 3 months. Just like that. She never knew who it was. But those 3 months gave her time to get a better job, to stabilize, to eventually build a life. He looked out at the city beyond his windows. She said that stranger didn't just give her money. They gave her hope. They gave her the belief that good people existed, that the world wasn't just cold and cruel. And she promised herself that if she ever had the chance, she'd be that stranger for someone else. Marcus turned back to Maya. She never got the chance. She died still struggling, still working 2 jobs at age 64. But I have the chance. I have more money than I could spend in 10 lifetimes. And I'll be damned if I don't use it to be that stranger for people who need one. Maya wiped her eyes with the back of her hand. Your mother would be so proud of you. I hope so, Marcus said softly. So what do you say? Will you help me make her proud? Maya looked down at the job offer again, then at the program outline, then at the man across from her who was offering her family a lifeline. Yes, she whispered. Yes, absolutely yes. Part 8, 6 months later. The Save More supermarket on 5th Street had changed. It had been renovated, updated, turned into the flagship location for what was now being called the Wellington Community Partnership. But the biggest change was happening at Register 7. Maya Rodriguez stood near the entrance, wearing a professional blazer and a name tag that read, Maya Rodriguez, Family Liaison Coordinator, Wellington Foundation. She was watching the checkout lanes with a trained eye, clipboard in hand, occasionally making notes. Beside her, Marcus Wellington stood in jeans and a casual jacket, looking nothing like the billionaire he was. See that mom over there? Maya gestured subtly to a young woman at Register 4, putting items back. She's done that 3 times this month. You remember individual shoppers? I remember the look on their faces. I had that look for 2 years straight. Maya made a note on her clipboard. Her name is Jennifer Hastings. Single mom, 2 kids, works at the DMV downtown. I've been trying to get her to apply for the program, but she's proud. Doesn't want to accept help. Marcus watched Jennifer carefully place a package of ground beef back on the conveyor belt, smiling apologetically at the cashier. What would work? He asked. A job offer, Maya said immediately. She's overqualified for her current position. I looked into her background. She has an associate's degree in business administration. If we could offer her a position in the foundation's administrative team, she'd see it as earning her way, not receiving charity. Marcus pulled out his phone. Consider it done. Send me her details. We actually do need another administrative coordinator. This was how they worked now. Maya identified families in need, Marcus provided resources, and together they figured out how to help in ways that preserved dignity. In 6 months, the Wellington Family Initiative had assisted 347 families. The results were being documented by a research team from the state university, and the preliminary data was stunning. 89% of participating families reported reduced financial stress. 72% of parents had advanced in their careers or completed additional education. 100% of children in the program were now food secure. Parent-reported mental health scores had improved by an average of 64%. But for Maya, the statistics didn't matter as much as the stories. Like Teresa Williamson, who'd finally been able to leave an abusive relationship because she had financial support. Or David Chen, a single dad who'd gone back to school to become a nurse while the foundation covered his childcare costs. Or Sandra Hughes, who'd started her own small business with a microgrant and was now employing 3 other single mothers. You know what amazes me? Marcus said, watching the shoppers. We're spending about $30,000 per family annually. That's nothing, literally a rounding error in my company's budget. But it's changing lives completely. Because people don't need millions, Maya said. They just need enough. Enough to breathe. Enough to plan. Enough to hope. Her phone buzzed. A text from Lily's school. Lily won first place in the science fair. Maya smiled, showing Marcus the message. Lily had built a water filtration system for her project, something that wouldn't have been possible before, when they couldn't afford materials. She wants to be an environmental engineer, Maya said proudly. Says she wants to help people get clean water. Wonder where she learned to care about helping people, Marcus said with a knowing smile. Yeah, well. Maya felt herself blush. She's got a good role model now. She meant Marcus, but he shook his head. I was talking about you, Maya. You always were her role model. The foundation didn't change that. It just made it easier for you to be the parent you already were. 2 years after that day at Savemore Supermarket, Maya stood on a stage at the city's convention center. Behind her, a massive screen displayed photos of families, laughing children, proud parents, success stories. She was the keynote speaker at the National Single Parent Coalition Conference, and the room was packed with over 3,000 people. I want to tell you about the worst day of my life, Maya began, her voice steady and strong. The day I stood in a supermarket checkout line, counting pennies, trying to decide what to put back. The day I had to tell my 5-year-old daughter that we couldn't afford a $4 carton of milk. The room was silent, listening. I was so ashamed. I felt like the worst mother in the world. I felt like a failure. Maya paused, looking out at the crowd. But what I didn't know was that someone was watching. Someone who saw my struggle and chose to help, not in a way that made me feel small, but in a way that made me feel seen. She clicked to the next slide, a photo of Marcus Wellington at a ribbon-cutting ceremony for the Wellington Family Center, surrounded by kids. Marcus Wellington could have just handed me money that day. He could have made himself feel good and moved on. Instead, he saw an opportunity to address a systemic problem. In 2 years, the Wellington Family Initiative has helped over 4,000 families. We've seen parents go back to school, start businesses, leave abusive situations, achieve dreams they thought were impossible. Another slide, statistics, graphs, data showing the program's success. But here's what the numbers don't show. They don't show the first time a parent sleeps through the night without panic about bills. They don't show the moment a kid realizes they can dream bigger. They don't show the dignity restored, the hope rebuilt, the futures unlocked. Maya's voice grew stronger. And here's what I want every policymaker, every legislator, every person with power to understand: this isn't complicated. The solution to family poverty isn't mystery. It's not rocket science. It's simply choosing to help. It's recognizing that parents are working their asses off, and sometimes the system is rigged against them no matter how hard they try. The crowd erupted in applause. What Marcus Wellington did for me, I'm now helping do for others. That's how change happens. Not top-down, but rippling outward. One family helping another, one community lifting another. She looked directly at the cameras recording her speech. If you're watching this and you're struggling, if you're the parent at the checkout line, counting pennies, putting things back, I want you to know, you're not failing. The system is failing you. You're working miracles with nothing, and that makes you a hero, not a failure. The standing ovation lasted 5 minutes. Later, backstage, Marcus found her. Hell of a speech. Learn from the best, Maya said, pulling him into a hug. We're up to 6,000 families now, you know. Patricia sent me the updated numbers this morning. I know. And the model is scaling. We've got 3 other cities ready to launch their own versions of the program, funded by local philanthropists. Maya grinned. You're starting a movement, Wellington. We're starting a movement, Marcus corrected. None of this works without you. Maya's phone buzzed. A photo from her mother, Lily, now 7 years old, grinning at the camera with a missing front tooth, holding up a certificate, Student of the Month. She wants to give a speech at Career Day, Maya said, showing Marcus the text. About what her mom does. What are you going to tell her to say? Maya thought about it. The truth. That her mom helps families who are struggling. That everyone deserves a chance. That one small act of kindness can change everything. She looked at Marcus. And that sometimes, when you're at your lowest, the universe sends you exactly what you need. Not always what you expect, but what you need. Marcus smiled. Your daughter is going to change the world someday. She already is, Maya said softly. Just by being loved, supported, and given a chance to dream. That's revolutionary in itself. As she stood there, in a convention center ballroom, wearing a professional suit she could actually afford, with a daughter thriving at a good school, with a career helping others, Maya thought back to that moment at Register 7. The worst day of her life had become the catalyst for the best days. And somewhere, she hoped, Marcus's mother was watching. Proud of her son for remembering where he came from. Proud that her struggle hadn't been in vain. Proud that the cycle of suffering she'd endured was finally, actually being broken. One family at a time. One act of kindness at a time. One moment of human connection at a time. That's how the world changed. Not with grand gestures, but with one person seeing another's pain and choosing to care. Maya looked at the photo of Lily one more time, then slipped her phone into her pocket. Come on, she said to Marcus. We've got 4 families waiting for intake interviews this afternoon. Let's go change some more lives. And they did.